Hey everyone. Um, this problem seemed pretty interesting. It's problem number 1493, longest subarray of ones after deleting one element. Given a binary array nums, you should delete one element from it. Return the size of the longest non-empty subarray containing only ones in the resulting array. Return 0 if there is no such subarray. Our example should clarify things up. If we have nums to be 1, 1, 0, 1, the output would be 3. Because after we remove the 0 in the second position, we um, have 3 ones consecutively, which is the longest list of ones we have. An important example to note is, I think, example 3, where we have 3 ones, and so we must delete a number, meaning if we delete like the middle one or any one for that matter, we would end up with 2. All right, let's go over to our drawing board here to try and figure out what we do. I think an idea I have to approach this problem is kind of create a new list, right? Which basically keeps account of how many times ones have appeared before 0 has appeared. So for instance, in example 2, we would see 3 followed by 2 followed by 1 because we have 3 ones appear in some order. It doesn't matter if it's padded by zeros, that's optional. But then after the comma, it kind of indicates that we have the 0 there, and then that we have 2 more 1's. Once again, indicating a 0 there, and then 1, 1. Correct? So after this point, I think the solution is pretty straightforward, where we return the max sum between two numbers. Two numbers, right? In this case, it would be 3 plus 2. Is that a little more non-obvious than it seems? I'm not sure. I will only figure it out when I type it up. Another thing to note is if there's len of our list is only 1, then we want to return that value. So basically a list of 0 minus 1. Basically adhering to example 3 that we saw in our question. Because if we only have 1's, then we want to just remove one of the 1's and return the length of that. Once again, how am I going to solve finding the max sum of two consecutive values in a list? Maybe some type of like sliding window where I go from there to go to there to there and then just keep a track of max. I feel like that's the only way I can do that. Okay, sweet. That makes a lot of sense. For num in nums, let's start with a count equals, or let's call this a running sum to be 0 if num equals 0, right? We want to um let's create a resulting array called res. This is basically our list. We want to do res.append, and then we want to append our sum. Else sum plus equals 1. Now this logic should effectively keep adding 1 until a 0 is met, where we then append the count to our list res. And we also want to reset sum to be 0 after that point. Beyond this, I want to for I in range 0 to, so basically len of res minus 2, because we don't want to ever reach the last element because we're going to be summing together the I and the I plus 1th element, right? Let's set our, we know the numbers are going to be positive, so we can set max equals to 0. And then we could set a max sum to also be 0. Or what do I call this? Let me call it the running sum, just for clarity. Running sum equals res of I plus res of I plus 1, right? And if running sum greater than max, or better yet, let's just do max equals, I'm going to set this to max sum because I think max is actually a keyword in Python. Max equals max of running sum and max sum. So whatever is the bigger of the two, it holds. And finally, we want to return max sum. And here we could put a quick check if len of res equals 1, return res 0 minus 1, which should take care of any like range issues we have there. Oh, I see. Can we, in every case, print out res? I feel like that'd be great. 2. Oh, if there's a 1 at the end, it's not going to. So I basically want to, so the ones at the end and at the start they count, at the end they're not going to count. So I just want to pad the end with a 0 just to be safe. So let's just do nums dot append 0, right? Because otherwise this value is never going to get added to our list, whereas because we never encounter a 0 for it to actually get appended to. For I in range, is it length of res minus 1? Oh, because it just doesn't include this value. So yeah, if I were to just do length of res, that'd be good enough to iterate through the entire array. So if I just wanted to exclude the last element, I'd do length of res minus 1. Does this work? Sweet. Hopefully that made sense. I'm thinking through this problem with you guys, so obviously there are occasionally going to be pauses, but it's nice that I can kind of work this through and explain my thought process as I do. Hopefully that was helpful. Please do leave any comments if you have any suggestions, and thank you guys for watching. Bye. Okay, now why is this wrong? Why is our output 0? Our length of res is 2.